summary question. A small paragraph is given to you. As you read the paragraph, try to restate what you consider to be the main points of the paragraph. Have a summary in your mind before you look at the options. Do not look at the options before you've read the paragraph and decided on the main points. Okay. Arguments for anger are often framed in terms of empowerment. In the face of oppression, we should not feel grief or fear, we should feel anger. So, people who argue for anger, they say that anger is, in other words, anger is empowering. When you face oppression, feel angry. Anger motivates anger. Anger is empowered. Anger motivates action. Anger is empowering. It is surely better to be angry than to be afraid or hopeless. So arguments about anger say, it's empowering. Whenever you face oppression, it's better to be angry than feel sad or sorry or afraid about it. But this is one theory. Anger is empowering, one theory. But the link between anger and power should perhaps also give us pause. Okay, there's a link between anger and power according to one argument. Anger is empowering. But this link should make you have a second thought. Think again. Why? The visibly angry people in the contemporary world, in the real world, the visibly angry people are motivated by a series of factitious grievances. What is factitious? False, specious, imagined grievances, not actual. Factitious grievances into expressions of anger. So the angry people in the world are not those who are facing oppression, actual oppression. Many of the angry people of the world have factitious, specious, wrong, imagined grievances, and these are transformed into expressions of anger. And what is the target of the expression of anger? Whose aim is to instill fear in the marginalized community. In the contemporary world, those people who are visibly angry are angry about factitious, wrong grievances, and their anger is targeted at marginalized communities. This is the reality according to the author. This kind of anger is a tactic of oppression. Here you're saying anger should be used to fight oppression. It empowers you against oppression, but what is happening presently is anger is actually a tactic of oppression that seems activated by perceived erosion of power and privilege. So in the contemporary world, anger is used as a tactic. One part says anger is empowering, should be used to fight oppression. But in the real world, many people use anger as a tactics, as a strategy of oppression. What if anger feels powerful because it tends to reinforce existing forms of power? What if anger is more likely to punch down than to punch up? People in power punch down, use it as a tool to oppress rather than punch up, where the oppressed fight back against people above. Anger can be a feeling that drives both dehumanizing violence and resistance to that violence. So he sums up and says it can help you fight against violence. It can also be a tool of dehumanizing violence, which is what has summed up the passage. One theory, this is anger, this is anger. So anger can empower, anger can also use to oppress. That's what the passage says. That's our summary. Now let's look at which option goes closest to our summary. Arguments for anger incorrectly portray it as an empowering and motivating feeling. The author is not saying it is incorrect. He says when you talk of anger as empowering, pause a minute. There is another side to the story. It can be used for empowering, but it also can be used by the powerful to oppress. So it's not that arguments are totally incorrect in portraying anger as empowering. Anger can be empowering. The author has not refuted that anger can be empowering. So one is not correct. A is not correct. Anger can be used as a tool to perpetuate violence, yes, by people in power for factitious grievances, target it against marginalized community to inflict dehumanizing violence, he says. It can also be used as a tool to resist that violence. So seems to sum up our passage beautifully. Let's look at another option to see if it has been expressed better. In contemporary society, anger is a tactic of oppression activated by perceived notions of power. Only one side of it. In contemporary society, anger is used as a tactic of oppression, okay, by people who perceive notions of power. Did he say exactly that? What did he say? By perceived erosion of power, he says, not perceived notion of power. Perceived erosion of power. When I am powerful, I feel my power is slipping. That is when I use anger to fight back against the erosion of power, not perceived notion. Even otherwise, it's also incomplete, doesn't talk about the other aspect, how anger can be empowering. More anger is punch down rather than punch up. Did he say that? He says anger. What if anger is punch down rather than punch up? But that doesn't mean he's saying there is more punch down anger than punch up anger. So this has become stated, it distorted what has been said about punch down, punch up. Therefore, the correct summary is B, which sums it up beautifully. The last two lines actually sum up the entire passage.